Alrighty, folks, we are back with the wonderful and lovely Beth Traverso. We're going to talk about what is going on in King County, aka Seattle. This is important because it is a very expensive market, and Beth is a top 1% national agent. So we will get the real nitty gritty of what's going on. How you doing, Beth?
I'm doing great. It's so nice to be back here. I missed you and everybody here. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. Thanks for having me back.
Absolutely. So I'd love to hear what's going on. When I was away, rates popped all the way to 8%.
Yeah.
They've since
Boy,
dropped almost 100
yeah.
basis points. So
I
what's
feel like
going
I've
on?
got a little bit of whiplash with what's been going on with these rates. I was thinking, well, you're like, oh man, Mike and I've got stuff to talk about. So the fact that when we went up to 8, I swear it was almost like the quietest, most still I've seen this market in, I can't remember, where
It's
everything
funny.
just came to a screeching halt, even more than before. So yeah.
Yeah, I remember because this is what I thought might have happened. I remember you and I talking about a year and a half ago when rates hit 6% for the first time. You're like, Michael, it's crickets, open houses got 0. And then people got used to 6 and they got used to 7 and then it popped to 8 out of nowhere. And I'm like, I wonder what happened.
It takes a little while for people to develop a tolerance, I think. And I think if enough time went by, enough people would adjust. But it's bad enough for people if they're, budget shock, if they're shopping at 7% and then it goes to 8. It's like, oh man, we were already stretching before and now this, and they combine that with nothing for sale. And people are just like, we're just going to just sit this out.
I'm out. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'll come back next year.
Extreme discounts, the disrespectful offers. I saw a lot of disrespectful offers. You would have been proud.
I would have been proud. I love it. Take your shot. Take your shot.
I know. And some of those are people just trying and testing, and who can blame them,
No.
And then, but then when it didn't stay at 8% very long, and then it started ticking down, and that's when we started seeing, it's funny how it just injected life back into the market out there. And I started seeing I've been seeing more attention at open houses, better offers. We're actually seeing even multiple offers on certain listings. Yes, even now it's just the holidays. So when it is typically the slowest time of the year, but the fact that there are few good listings on the market when something does pop on that's priced well and presented well. One thing I saw really dramatically emphasized at 8% was if a listing is not 100% turnkey, the buyers were not going to make offers on it, or only very low offers, even with little minor cosmetic things like the carpet and paint not dialed in. People just were not going for it, even though you think it can't be that big of a deal to do carpet and paint. We're not talking about tearing out the house and remodeling it, but people are just like, nope, if we're stretching this far to get in here, we don't want to do work, even if it's priced to reflect the work needed. So note to sellers out there, it's really crucial now more than ever that you have to do all of the things. You have to clean it, carpet, paint, make maybe other cosmetic updates, stage it if possible, price it right right out of the gate, do all those things. And those are the sellers that are being rewarded right now, and buyers are willing to pay still top dollar for those listings. And so that's what I'm seeing going forward. And go ahead. Yeah,
I was just going to say, this feels a lot like last year when rates went up in the winter. We got 2 deals right out of the MLS, and I'm talking to one of my guys later today. He's got line of sight to 2 or 3 deals. So I may have something in escrow by the end of the week. We'll see. But yeah, these 2 properties were great areas, well, good areas, but they needed work and nobody was looking at them. So we got 30% off of list price.
Wow. So, congrats.
Yeah. This is last, but again,
still,
if you know what's moving, you also know what's not moving. And, I like to look at, days on market, what's not moving. I like to try to make an offer right before a price drop so I can, get in there. So it's pretty interesting. So that's on the demand side. I'm curious. I know it's winter. I know it's holidays. What happened on the listing side? Did 8% change that at all? Less come on?
Well, this is the time of year where we tend to see fewer listings coming on the market regardless. People are starting to have that discussion a lot, and in all the Facebook groups with agents, I see people saying, should I list now? Or should my clients list after January 1st, or when should we list? And so more and more people are deciding to push it into January at this point. But I did see that we did have fewer listings. We had very low new listing inventory the last 2 weeks. And I expect that between now and the end of the year that it's going to drop even further. So the inventory situation is still so anemic. It's almost on life support. There's barely a heartbeat out there, the listing inventory. I've brought a couple on the last couple. I have one coming on this week and one last week and one, I think, the week before, but they've all done really well. So I think, you know, if you are a seller looking and you're willing to do all those things, like it has to be presented exactly right. It has to be priced right, all of that. You can still do really well this time of year. But I think the message for sellers is you have to prep the listing. For buyers, there's opportunities out there for these ones that miss the mark. And I think that opportunity may be limited to some extent. I mean, there's always opportunities, right? We teach people how to find those year round, no matter what the market does, we find ways. But right now, I think is the time while other people are distracted and it's quiet out there. There's some listings that maybe are gathering up some days on market, and it has ugly carpet, fill in the blank, whatever those things are that you can come in and easily change. It's a great way to buy a great house for a lower cost where you can do those things and get a return on investment right out of the chute. So I think that's going to change in January. We can maybe talk about that next, but yeah.
I think it does feel to me that 2022 is repeating 2023, and that will mean 2024 early repeats 2023 early. Because if we head into next year with this dearth of inventory and rates continue to fall, I don't know why February, March, and April don't repeat themselves. And if anybody needs to go back and look, those were pretty busy months.
Yeah. I think it may, this might be, I'm still debating if it's going to be more or less of a seller's market this coming spring versus last spring, but it's shaping up that way because with the rates on the downtrend and the perception that that's going to continue into the future, I think it's going to feel more people to come off the fence. Where when they were rates were rising, people were, I don't know, and they'd been rising for a while, and they didn't really seem like there was any hint of it coming down anytime soon. A lot of people were fence sitters.
I think there are so many people that were sitting on the sidelines this time. And again, rates are down 100 basis points in like 7 seconds. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So you're seeing affordability improve. And if they come down another 50 or 75 basis points, what I've learned about the consumer after studying it for 30 years, they want a deal. On the way up, 6.25 didn't feel like a deal. On the way down, 6.25 is going to feel like a screaming deal.
Isn't it interesting how that perception changes just by the frame of reference? And what I see year after year after year, having done this for a long time, is that buyers right now are hesitant, and for all the reasons why we just talked about. But as soon as they start losing out in bidding wars, they get very competitive very quickly.
Yeah.
Immediately it switches over. Yeah. The psychology just immediately switches.
Especially if they think they're getting a deal. You want to see a consumer get excited, have them get a deal, lose on the deal, think it's short term because they lost before. It could be wild. I guess the last question before we flip over to episode number 2 is, are you still seeing a bifurcated market where luxury versus kind of entry level is behaving differently?
Yeah, I'm seeing luxury and mid do really well, actually, but the upper tier is still seeing longer market times and prices needing to come down, and that inventory is not moving nearly as much. So yeah, I'm still seeing that. But for me, it's the upper third. But the lower and the middle are still doing really well because we've seen so few of the mid-range, like median home price homes for sale because there's so few move-up buyers.
Exactly.
That segment is still really frozen, and so we're seeing that there's demand for that just isn't there. So that's keeping that moving really well too. And of course, the entry level always does great. no difference there. Buyers are jumping right on that. And the downsizers are buying those too. So it's extra competitive. Buyers, downsizers, and investors, although there aren't as many as there were, are all in that same lower third price tier for the smaller homes or the entry-level homes or the ones that tend to make the best rentals. Those are the ones that are getting the most activity, and they're selling fast for high prices still.
Well, folks, we have a treat for you. Beth Traverso not only is a top 1% agent, weekly contributor to the channel, but she continually gives you guys referrals to other top 1% agents. If you were buying or selling in a different part of the country, I would tap into her network. How would they do that, Beth?
Yeah, people can reach out to me at bethtraversogroup.com or just Google my name and you'll find me out there on Facebook or Instagram, and look forward to connecting with people. I always enjoy doing that.
Thank you so much.